Alright, this guy. Yeah.
La Commissione ha approvato il esame finale di laurea, pertanto per i poteri conferiti dalla legge all'antico rettore da questi ai delegati, la proclamo di autore magistrale in relazioni internazionali con punti 106 su 110. Soprattutto i parenti dei candidati che hanno già discusso di lasciare
Facciamo come Claudio.
Ah, Giamma?
Thank you very much. I'll introduce Innocence in English. His work is in English. So Innocence thesis shows how US political narratives and asylum practices challenge the international principle of non-refoulement, not by formally repudiating it, but by redesigning access, so that protection becomes statistically less likely. This happens through various types of narratives, like securitizing, deterrence. However, there is also a focus on the external projection of these mechanisms in the US, Mexico, and US Guatemala agreements, and with some brief comparative case studies concerning the UK, Rwanda,
and thank you for this opportunity. I would like to especially thank my supervisor, Professor Mancosidi, for the support he has rendered to me throughout this process. I would like to start with the question: what does it mean to protect someone if they cannot access protection in the first place? This question guided my research on non-refoulement, the core principle of refugee law that prohibits returning a person to danger. However, my thesis shows that non-refoulement can remain formally respected in law, while access to protection becomes increasingly hard, increasingly narrow in practice. So the real issue is not whether the rule exists, but whether a person can actually reach protection at a certain moment. So I look at non-refoulement in as a legal norm and also as a practical taste of this of non-refoulement. So non-refoulement is a refugee in any manner whatsoever to frontiers or territories where his life or freedom will be threatened on account of his race, religion, nationality, membership of a particular social group or political opinion. So my research question comes to US political narratives and asylum practices, how they have challenged this principle. My central argument is that states do not need to remove the law to weaken it. However, they redesign how the system works. So instead they redesign how the system works, and then the securitizing and the deterrence narratives justify restrictive policies. And also these policies progressively challenge the access to asylum. So erosion does not happen openly, however, it happens. So to explain this, I have to, the next slide. To explain this, I have checked two theories, international relations theories, constructivism and realism. And from the constructivism theory, it was observed that narratives shape what policies appear. Policy or an instrument, they put it out because they wanted to shape a certain narrative, and when a certain narrative has been reached, then it also changes the way, it also makes it appear legitimate. So from realism, I realized that governments or states act strategically, maintaining commitments while limiting practical access. So methodologically, I trace how language turns into policy and how those policies affect access over time, focusing on narratives, on instruments, and their effects. So the core mechanism is straightforward. Narratives shape policies, and the policies narratives shape policies, and the policies shape access, and then access determines who is actually protected. So in this sense, non-refoulement becomes a question of probability. It's either the likelihood that a person can reach protection before the removal. So narratives do not merely describe policy, they constitute conditions under which restrictive instruments appear legitimate and necessary. And the next slide. We see that I also looked at the three administrations, like the Professor Marcosit said, under the Obama administration, who used the humanitarian language and managed to and also managed the access through procedures and control. But when he was deporting, when the deportations were being done, because of the language, because of the narrative that was behind it, it sounded as a smart border control. But when it came to Trump administration, the first Trump administration, who framed migration as a crisis and used the strongest deterrence measures to block access. So it was the narrative behind it was that migration is a crisis, and this became a problem even in the news and everywhere. It was reported as a huge crisis. And then we came to the Biden administration, which was even during the COVID-19, when he used the Title 42 health issues. It promised for restoration.
Dai, fa.
Blow it. Do it.
Let's go and take a picture.
The place is. We got. Oh.